Megan, we are live and ready to go.
Awesome.
And then as you guys are jumping in here, if you guys have questions, you can drop them into the chat. It'll be at the bottom of your screen if you want us to answer those while we're on today. Hi, Megan, you might be muted. Megan might be having some internet issues. I saw her cut in and out a couple of times. So if you guys have questions while we're getting started, feel free to either unmute and I can answer them, or we can circle back. I'll watch for her to join back in. Potential client reached out on my website and booked an appointment. Is there special considerations for a residential realtor? Not really. By special considerations, are you referring to like accounting, special accounting practices or anything like that? I mean, if they're doing commissions, things like that, like that's something you might have to work on, like setting processes in place to get the right information. But at the end of the day, they're going to be a service-based business. And they're going to do all of their own, like they're not going to be invoicing out of QuickBooks Online. So they'll be pretty straightforward once you understand all of their transactions and how they work together, and then the documents that they're going to send you. But accounting, commissions, chart of accounts, that's going to be based on their documents as far as commissions and what money's coming in. You're just going to have to ask them questions about the transactions that are coming through and make sure you understand how their business is operating. As far as chart of accounts, again, they're a service-based business. You can always get their tax return and find out more information about the type of transactions they have. If they're completely new to QuickBooks, the tax return will give you some insight to what type of transactions they have, how their business is set up legally. They're probably most realtors, real estate agents, become an S Corp if she's not already, or he or she, if they're not already an S Corp, that might be something they will want to look into, depending on how many houses they sell, stuff like that. But the tax return will give you a lot of the missing information there. And I see Megan jumped back in. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Hey, okay. I don't know what's going on. Oh, there's another question.
An S Corp is a so the main difference is they both operate as limited liability companies for the most part. An S Corp allows you to pay yourself is going to be the short answer there. You're going to have a separate tax return. You're going to file what's called an 1120S because you're now a corporation, instead of filing on your Schedule C. So those are the two main difference, just from a high level perspective. I do have a training in the Bookkeeper Blueprint on like the math behind when you should become an S Corp. So if you're in the Bookkeeper Blueprint or thinking about joining that, there is a training there for just giving some more information on like the math behind those two. I don't know if I understand what you're asking in that question. Like as far as the bookkeeping goes, there's nothing that you guys would be expected to do. Megan, do you have anything on realtors for? Because I mean, they're gonna want to have a separate, like, they're not gonna want to be a sole prop. As far as their licensing and their legal requirements, I don't know. As far as that goes, that would be consult to their lawyer or
Yeah,
CPA.
I'm not sure what you mean by the question, but it would be just the typical bookkeeping, like you would for any other client. If that's what you mean, Tasha, I'm not sure. Okay, so I just want to touch a little bit today on the power of having partnerships and stuff with your bookkeeping business. Because a lot of times, one, they can be huge as far as bringing in referrals, having clients coming in. So you can streamline them from that, but you can also provide more value to your clients by having these things set up and stuff. So, and what do we mean by that? Like a lot of times when you have clients reach out, and you'll probably heard me say this story before, I thought in the beginning of my business, I had to do taxes, I had to be able to do all the things, but it's not necessarily that they're expecting you to do that. They're just reaching out for bookkeeping, and some of these questions just naturally come up, like whether it's a tax preparer, it's somebody to handle payroll, things along those lines for you as they're growing their business and they're just starting out. And a lot of times they're just starting out. They started doing this thing, whatever it is, and had no idea it was going to grow to the extreme it was. So having some of these referrals helps you provide more value to your clients, but can also streamline and get some referrals coming in for you as well. So definitely one, you're not doing it all yourself. So again, like I said, when I started, I thought, oh, I need to do taxes, I need to be able to do payroll, I need to be able to do all these things. That's not the case. You just need to make some good connections. So whether it's tax preparers, CPAs, enrolled agents, there's tons of different options when it comes to those types of partnerships. And I would definitely say, like, start reaching out, having the conversations. You want to build the relationships with them, and also what kind of value can you provide them? So a lot of them don't want to do the bookkeeping either. They want to handle the tax filings or tax strategy or whatever the case is, whatever their job is that they're wanting to do for those clients. So you want to make sure like you can form those relationships, reaching out to them. One thing that in the beginning is how can you provide value to them? So have conversations, coffee chats, Zooms, things like that. So CPAs, tax strategists. CPA, sorry, y'all, I'm going to try to get through this as best as I can. I am getting over strep, so talking for a long period, I don't know how it's going to work out. So CPAs, tax strategists, enrolled agents, any of those types of people will be good referrals to have in your back pocket. Other ones that I've found and saw, like for me personally in my business, have been CFOs. I had a CFO that became a really good referral partner, because one thing, they need the bookkeeping done to be able to do their job. But it's one of those things that's not what their focus is. They need to be able to focus on the bigger picture and do what services they provide as a CFO. Another one is going to be financial advisors. Financial advisors, they need the financial statements done. They need final reports to be able to provide the value to their clients from a financial advising standpoint as well. So that goes both ways. Again, your clients, a lot of times whenever they come to you, they're reaching out. Maybe they've made way more money than what they ever thought they were going to make. Now they need some advice from that standpoint. So you can provide value to the financial advisor as well as your clients and stuff. So kind of think about that from the both standpoints when you're trying to set up some of these referral partnerships. Business coaches, consultants, those are going to be other ones. If there's anybody that you're using, things like that, mindset coach, growth coach, strategist coach, anything like that, those are going to be ones that your clients are going to be able to really use. Anybody in the marketing realm, if you have somebody who's I'm sorry. If you have somebody who helps with marketing, whether it's websites, whether it's social media marketing, different types of things like that, your clients are going to need it and they can benefit from the help. So a lot of times anybody that we could use for our business, they could use for their business as well. So kind of think about it from that standpoint. Another thing is going to be insurance companies. So whether we're talking business insurance, health insurance, any of those types of things, those agents, those will be great ones to have in your back pocket and to send referrals. Because I know a lot of times clients ask, do you know anybody who handles health insurance? Do you know anybody who handles business insurance? Because they need other quotes and things along those lines and stuff as well. And then even like your bankers, so when you set up your business bank accounts, any IT people, cybersecurity, different types of things like that, those will be great people too. Again, the bankers, payroll providers, so Gusto, ADP, those types of businesses, Tax Star for sales tax, things like that. Those are good partnerships to set up. And then they also, when you're talking like Gusto, ADP and stuff, those are going to look a little bit different, but they also do offer an opportunity for you to make some additional money by sending clients their way and stuff as well. So it would look a little bit different because they might not necessarily be sending clients your way. But I will tell you, like with ADP, when I first started my business, I had a local ADP rep reach out and they try to go to businesses and get businesses to sign on. So they were keeping in mind as they're going to these businesses, if somebody needed a bookkeeper. So they did send referrals my way. So if you can find somebody who is local like that in your network, you can set up referral partnerships with them and stuff as well too. So don't discount the fact that, oh, it's a larger company or anything like that. You never know what you can get from it. And then even if it's a lot of times people won't have the conversations because this tax preparer does bookkeeping or this other firm does bookkeeping or whatever. I've seen plenty of times where other bookkeeping firms have decided, hey, we're either going to go a different route with who they're niching down to, the size of the client, all of these different things, whatever the case may be. And then now they're like, hey, can I send you these referrals to your clients and stuff? So, I mean, can I send you these referrals of clients because they needed to offload some clients. So So you just never know who could be a good referral source for you. So don't discount any of those. Sherry, is there any other ones that you can think of that I didn't name that would be good partners?
Yeah, I was thinking, anyone who, like, especially this works, especially if you're in a small town or if you can get to know the dealership.
This is my chain.
Yeah, the chain.
Let's go through on.
Would be dealerships that do fleets. So anyone that does fleet mechanic work, fleet car dealerships, sells to the fleets, like those would be good to connect to. And then you mentioned marketing. I had a thought of because we've talked about it before a long time ago. Connecting with those that do car wraps or like signs for business owners would be other good ones. Okay. Do any of you guys have partnerships that you currently are working with that you like, that you would like to share? Is there any hangups to like reaching out to? Like connect with partnerships or like establish them?
I have current partnerships with my local CPAs here in town and CPAs I used to work with. Also, the internet service providers, because they're always going door to door, and typically new businesses, while they have services, they need something different, or they're moving or something like that. I also have relationships with the Gusto reps, Paychecks, ADP, and each one of those companies, Paychecks and ADP specifically, they offer a la carte services. So you don't have to have payroll to get health benefits with them or to get 401k. And each department has a different rep. So it's just another partnership for you to have in your pocket. And then, like you said, the mechanics. In my town, I have a relationship with the glass company. So whenever they go out to people's houses, they're always listening. And my local pest control company.
Oh, something happened.
I was
Michelle,
wondering, I didn't know if it was me.
how many of those, which ones have sent you clients if you're still on? She might have gotten disconnected 100%,
No,
but
I'm here. Can you hear me?
okay. Yeah, now we can.
Okay.
Which ones of those have actually sent you clients?
The pest control company has sent me clients. I get clients from CPAs, and my local glass company actually referred me to another bookkeeper here in town that I'm connecting with because she's retiring and her clients have to go somewhere.
That's a really good reason to connect with other bookkeepers. And tax professionals is either they might be offloading at some point a segment of services, retiring, things like that. So you can also stock like CPA. If you go look up like accounting firms for sale, you can maybe find accounting firms like CPA firms that are listed, but they might not be selling because of whatever reason. Those might be good to connect with because they'll have a book of business, like bookkeeping. They might be willing to get rid of a segment of clients. I'm not necessarily saying to buy them. I'm saying connect with them if they're looking to offload. Hey, this is keeping us from selling, or something like that. So.
Over the years, I've connected with CPAs too because a lot of CPA firms will do the taxes. Now, a lot of times they have the bookkeeping integrated into their business, but they have so much of that they need to outsource. And so I have connected with them where they have you come in and have taken a test, and then they don't necessarily put you under their umbrella, but they contract out to you for the bookkeeping work, and you're connecting with somebody from their office regarding questions. So I have done that type of work too and received business that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, there's so many ways to approach it for sure.
Go ahead, Megan.
Does anybody have any questions about that or about forming the partnerships or any other ideas?
While you guys are typing, the other thing I was going to bring up is, collecting partnerships is a really, like, we want them in our Rolodex. But you might, especially using something like a Quick 360, you can segment, you can add your partners, like they're probably on your email list, right? You can segment them to like a tag called partners, and you can nurture them as a practice so that they know about any promotions, anything, any resources you can provide your partners to talk to their clients about. So maybe there's an S Corp deadline or a payroll deadline, something that you're maybe sending out to your clients. You can edit that email and send it to the partners, speaking to the partners specifically, how they can best serve the business owners that they work with and how to partner with you. Just as a reminder of how to work with you.
Let's see, Sherry said, I am just having a hard time getting traction in my small town. All the CPAs around me do bookkeeping in-house and I'm new. Serious imposter syndrome, as I have no hands-on experience except in a W-2 job. Is the W-2 job bookkeeping related or it's not at all? One thing to definitely remember is you can do this virtually. You don't have to stick with just in-house. I mean, in your small town. So to say all of the CPAs are offering bookkeeping, and even to say that, what kind of service are they giving, things like that. So it does not mean that everybody's happy with it. And one thing that I saw, like for me, one thing was somebody reached out to me for bookkeeping services and told me they had gotten a quote from the CPA. The CPA was charging like $200 and something an hour to do the bookkeeping. And that's partially because one, they're outsourcing it. So to say they're doing it in-house, they have somebody else doing it for them. So they're paying to have it done. And then another thing that I had somebody reach out to me very early on and say, she was very adamant about, I do not want a CPA doing my books. And a lot of times that's all you hear is, I need a CPA, I want a CPA, whatever. And I couldn't figure out why. So I asked questions, and one of the comments that she made was because they don't pay enough attention to detail. Or nobody get offended by this, but the person she was dealing with was not paying enough attention to detail. But it was just simply because they're looking at it from a higher level. And when you're doing it from a bookkeeping standpoint, you're really looking at it very detailed. You're looking at the details and stuff. So think about it. Let's see, you said office manager in a small business did bookkeeping, but actually wore all the hats. I mean, that could definitely provide value. You have experience. So to say you have no hands-on experience, you have no hands-on experience like being a business owner doing this, but that's different. You do have experience if you're an office manager and you're doing bookkeeping and you're doing all the things. So you're just kind of getting in your own head from that standpoint. But again, just because the CPA offices are offering it doesn't mean that everybody's happy with the service that they're getting from them. There's still opportunity there in your town, and you have the entire United States you can market to. You have social media, you have the internet, you can do this virtually. So it's not something where you have to just stay within your small town. I would definitely, Sherry suggests reading Fear is Not the Boss of You by Jennifer Allwood. Because that sounds like you definitely have, like, I mean, you mentioned imposter syndrome. We also have a couple of podcasts that she came on and talked about imposter syndrome and stuff with us on here. And I think that would probably help you a lot. But yeah, you gotta Fear is Not the Boss of You by Jennifer Allwood.
I'll grab a link to it for you.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, I think that would be super helpful for you as well. Because it's easy to get in our own head and think, because you haven't done this from being like, you're a bookkeeper, you own a business doing it, get in your own way. Does anybody else have any questions or struggles with that? With trying to form the partnerships? We're happy to talk you through what that could look like and having those conversations. Or have you tried and had issues come up? And if y'all have other questions, feel free to drop those in the chat and stuff as well too.
One other suggestion I would have for partnerships, and where I live is a small town. Like our whole county is only 20,000 people. But because of that, I know a lot of people that are on the school board or work for county or city offices. And so I have friended and partnered with them, especially the people in the business office at the county and the city, because anybody who comes in with a new business that they're filing, they're typically looking for a bookkeeper, if not now, at some point. And so I leave my cards, and it's just one thing that they will occasionally give out if somebody asks for it.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's see, Laura said, is social media or email or in person the best way to start these partnerships? I would say any of those, whatever is going to be the best thing for you to do. If you have some places in person, obviously, like with everything else, bookkeeping, the no like and trust factor, you in person, you're going to build that a lot faster than what you will behind an email or social media. But if you're like, some people are just terrified to go do the in-person stuff, but you'll show up for in social media or email, do that. Just make sure, like, especially emails, sometimes they get lost. So you might have to send multiple to them, or just a follow up or something, or you may have to follow up maybe it's send an email and then go in person, or follow them on social media or something along those lines. And try to have those conversations for sure. But again, that no like and trust factor. You're welcome. Have you had any of those? And y'all, like I said earlier, I would try to make sure when you have those conversations, just approach them from what kind of benefit can you bring to the table for them as well, because obviously you want it to be a two-way partnership. You want to benefit them, but you want them to send you referrals too. So how can you help them and them help you? to kind of approach it from how you can help them for sure first. Anybody else have any questions? If I'm going in person, is there any marketing material you would leave with them or just a business card? People seem to not like paper clutter. Yeah, I would just leave a business card is all I would bring. Because you want to, when you're going in person, you want to just try to have that conversation. So if you have a business card, then they have your contact information to be able to reach back out to you, to get you the information that you need. I mean, to reach back out to you, to contact you, to get you in contact with whoever. So yeah, I would say just a business card.
When I go in person, I'll typically go first thing in the morning early, just before the business opens, because typically employees are not there at that time, the business owner is, or later in the evening. Again, typically employees have gone home and it's the business owner that's left. So now you're getting direct contact with the business owner themselves. And I will typically just ask them, what are some of their pain points in their industry? Who are they using for their bookkeeping? How, and then just kind of pitch them a little bit on how I can alleviate some of those pain points. Whether it's KPIs, like a local garbage company here in town that I recently got. I did that with them, and then the question became, are your trucks making you money? Well, we can straighten up your bookkeeping and get some key performance indicators going to see how each truck is doing and if there's a way to reroute some of the stuff for better efficiency.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yep, as much any value you can provide your clients for sure and potentials. Most definitely. Thanks for all the input, Michelle.
And partnerships can be broader than like business partnerships. You can also consider like outside of just those that can refer you based on their book of business or the people that they're talking to directly from a business standpoint. We've talked about podcast, someone with a newsletter, anyone that is serving your audience. And this is where we go back to talking about who are you talking to? What do they need? And really understanding what they need will allow you to pick better partnerships and make that time investment worthwhile. And partnerships do not have to be local, just as a reminder. You can have partners in other states. You can network in other states. Like you don't have to stay in your state or your local county, even if that's not making you progress. So. Any general questions going into fall around marketing or bookkeeping? Things like that. Give Megan's voice a little break. Does anyone have any marketing goals they're trying to figure out how to hit? I see Cameron joined. Cameron, how's marketing going?
A funny question. Going horrible.
I told you we were going to keep talking about this.
Yeah, I haven't been stopped. I haven't stopped. But I'm not getting what I want to get.
I do forget where we left off last time.
It was about the podcasters. Get a list of 100 podcasters.
Did you do that?
I got about maybe 40, where I went on to Google, went on to Bigger Pockets, went to YouTube, just like typed real estate investor, and found a couple of small ones, a couple of big ones. But I did work on a list. Yep.
So I would make it. I would make it to the 100. And I wouldn't limit yourself to the industry of real estate for the podcast. So like Jennifer Allwood doesn't talk to bookkeepers. And I think we would consider like that she's been a good podcast for us to be on. Does that make sense?
So like any.
So we've been talking about partners today.
Mhm.
Who is a good partner for you? It doesn't have to be someone who's talking to your exact industry.
Okay.
So, but it's great that you have like 40 that are talking to your industry, because we know that those are like instant, like there should be some sort of, they know what you do, you know what they do type of thing, right? And they can help
Mhm.
bring authority to what you do in that field. So that, perfect. The other 60 though are going to be loosely related. So they're going to be people that your ideal client would listen to. Does that make sense? So they might be political, they might be Daily Wire, they might be a political podcast that talks to your audience. They could be an investor, just maybe they invest in stocks, or maybe they talk about cryptocurrency. I don't know what that is for your ideal client. But now we're going to say like, who do we really want to partner with? Because you went the industry route first versus like your top 100 people. Your top 100, if they gave you a shout out and said, Cameron is the go-to bookkeeper. If you're doing real estate or you have a small business, you need to get with Cameron. So we're going to use their authority. So I would go back through the 40. Can they actually bring you authority? And then finish the other 60 with who can bring you authority. And then we're going to start reaching out to them. Can we do a guest podcast? Can they just shout us out? Can we do a collaboration email with them or a video with them? Where like you do a video, they do a video, and you like talk about each other. And like this is part 1, this is part 2, right? Or an email, you're gonna email your list for them and vice versa. Like you're gonna mention each other. So somehow we're gonna start like networking and working with that list. That list we're also gonna start showing, we're gonna pick and we're gonna start showing up in their comment section. We're gonna start engaging with their audience. And that's the benefit of having some of the real estate listed there, is you're gonna go engage with those now potential clients, right? Answering questions, making friends, expanding your own network by being social, because that's social media, even if it's podcasts.
All right. Okay.
So you're at a point where we need to start taking, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago when we were talking, we need to have our action start leveraging a little harder for us. So we need more fulcrum action in our marketing, is where you're at. I have a dog trainer who contacted me at text time. I couldn't do her taxes at the time, but she needs bookkeeping as well. I'm having trouble getting her to give me info. Her books were on vacation for the summer, or her business. I mean, did she care that much about that particular problem? I would really get to the bottom of why she even reached out to you. We might not know the problem solution too much yet, and it takes time. When did you guys first talk? It can take 6 months before someone signs, when it just becomes a big enough problem to them, and you've added enough value through email, follow-up, talking with them. With just getting Yeah, Amanda just made a good comment, Cameron, for you. Are you going to any in-person events?
I have, yes.
And then how are you following up with the people you connect with in person?
I would try to talk to as many people as possible. I would make sure I would try to get their business card instead of me just giving it to them. And I would send them an email saying, based on what our conversation was, a brief email. It was great connecting with them. And I would let them know just a synopsis of our conversation and what I do. And, if they need support, I'm here to help with QuickBooks. I never got anybody from that. Even from a person that actually said they needed an accountant, they like avoided me afterwards, and then they signed with somebody else. But yeah, I've done it before, and I feel like it's just the big time investment where I feel like I could just be getting way more online. There's just way more opportunities online as opposed to like, spending a whole day and dedicating that, but I have done it before a couple of times, yeah.
We have quite a few successful bookkeepers who, when they switched to local in-person networking, they finally got pushed through their hurdle. You might be the opposite. So I would really leverage those like influence that influence list we're creating for you. Who can help build our own authority, because right now you don't have a lot of authority. If that makes sense, right? Like, or we wouldn't be stuck.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people don't trust me. They don't know if they still don't know who I am. I have several followers on Facebook, but that doesn't mean anything. So
And only
I
you can
mean,
change that.
yeah, just trying to get whatever within my capacity to do that, and I'm just yeah, not the most. I don't love in-person events, and I had to make myself do it, and I did. Everyone that I saw, was gonna sign up for, and I did it. And I try to break the ice, talk to people. I try to be social. And I don't know. It's just I don't like comparing myself to other people, but I'm like, well, why is this like happening? It's like I'm about to make like a year next week, and it's I don't know. I'm just venting.
Sometimes you have to put your blinders on and quit looking at everybody else, because it gets, especially being in groups and stuff with other bookkeepers, it's very easy to get wrapped up in seeing this person doing this person doing that. But at the end of the day, your journey and their journey is going to look completely different. You don't know what it took for them to get to the point that they're at now. You don't know what their background was. You don't know who their connections were. You don't know all the things that, how they got there, the way they got there. And same goes for yours, and you could be right there about to make those connections and blow up, but you got to keep pushing, and you got to stay positive with it and just focus on you and what you're doing. And pay attention. I'm sure we probably said this before, but pay attention to what they're like, the people that you is your ideal client. If you're like, I really want to do business with this person, what are they saying their pain points are? Make sure that you're not necessarily like talking over their head and stuff sometimes, because sometimes it's just being a relatable person.
Yeah, and I'm trying to gather that info, and I try to connect with people. So, and I've tried to do like A/B testing with DMs. I'm just not really getting that answer. The ones that I did, it's such a small sample size, but like it's like I don't have time to do this, and my QuickBooks is not like I don't even have QuickBooks, so I'm still using a spreadsheet. And I try to like engage in that conversation, and then it's just like, all right, this guy's just trying to. He's only asking me this because he wants, be sold, wants to sell. But I'm also like trying to help you, as well. I have tried, and I honestly don't really know like what the main thing, because there's a lot of layers to real estate investors, because some are extremely wealthy and they have a lot going on, they have a lot to track, and they care about KPIs, and others are like, I'm trying to flip houses and my cash flow is horrible, and I can't pay you this much money, so there's just so many different variables. And when you go on Facebook, it's like it just says real estate investor. It's kind of hard. You have to get into that conversation to do it, and it's just like being able to talk to them. They just shut down when I don't know. It's just no. I'm never gonna give up. I've been doing this for a while. Just after a while, some days I'm just like tired and I'm over it. But yeah, honestly, I'm just venting. But no, I'm good, and I'm gonna keep at it, and I just got to keep getting better. That's all you can do. If you want to get something, you got to work for it, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing until maybe it's not for me. You know what I mean? So not everything can be for everybody. But we'll see.
So when I started, I did start with real estate investors. I provided them water default tables. And so you might need, and we talked about this last time. I would give yourself a timeline on breaking through this or dropping the niche for a time so that you can get revenue in. I know in the Bookkeeper Blueprint, I do say, and I do think this for most people. Some people, we do need to have a niche, and we need to focus on the niche because they're stuck in the land of ambiguity. I think you're the opposite. I do think you should drop the niche. That is my personal opinion, but I know you don't want to right now. So with that said, I would switch from sales to providing information. Just go serve people. Serve them through podcasts, serve them through your email, serve them through posts. Really switch. And Megan, you just did this book in the book club. Cameron, I would suggest this book to you. It's called The Go Giver. A little story about a powerful business idea. It's by Bob Berg and John David Mann. Megan, I don't know if you would recommend this book to Cameron right now, but let me know. I would pick up this
I
and
think
consume it this weekend.
I think it would be a great one.
Would it be okay if I share a little bit of my personal experience with Cameron? Because I have been in his spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Cameron, if there's any advice I could give you, looking back at my journey, I found that I received the most clients when I went in not looking for a sale, but looking for a friend and trying to serve other people. And even in my business now, I gain the most clients by just being there for them, helping out, becoming their friend. And it takes a while. Like the average client is about 6 months. Now it's a little bit sooner because of my experience, but I have been in your shoes. I've attended those BNI meetings and mixers and all of the stuff. And in my younger experience, when I did that and I went in trying to meet people and do the sales pitch, they're turned off by that. What they want is to have somebody just kind of meet them, talk to them, get to know them. And then through that, the way that I received the most business was actually having a bunch of contacts in my wheelhouse and listening for their pain point or their problem and saying, hey, I know you don't need me, but I got a guy for that. Here's his information. He's a great guy. Contact him, you know, whether it was insurance, a mechanic, anything like that. And then they learn to trust you. And so when they do need that service, that's when they're coming to you.
I definitely appreciate that advice. Yeah, I mean, I listen to like Alex Hormozy, you know, and he's all about giving, you know, free stuff, free stuff, free stuff, and then try to, but at the same time, you eventually have to show that you're trying to sell something, you know, like I have to make money, you know what I mean? And um, like I'm all about giving. I've tried to create some lead magnets. Some of them are pretty whack, and I get it, and I need to make it better. But even like that, it's like people are like, you know, even trying to attempt to give that stuff, they kind of get it's like you're only trying to do this because, you know, but at the same time, like business is business. Like I don't, you know, I get a bunch of DMs all the time and I hate DMs, but I feel like what else do I have? Like others that have been in the business have been also sending these cold DMs, and then that's how they got, you know, a book of business. I mean, I'm gonna keep trying everything. I, I guess just what I'm yeah, I just haven't, I'm not in a place where I felt like I would have been, you know, within a year. But no, I totally get, and I really do appreciate that advice, and I'm going to heed to a lot of it. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest the book Sherry read the book Sherry suggested. So one thing, and if you talk to, I don't know if you know who Eric Thomas is. He calls himself the hip hop preacher and he's on YouTube. He's got books and stuff, but one of the things he says is he always, like in the beginning of his business, it wasn't about making money to him. It was how can he serve the people and just providing value. The money came as he was providing the value. So I think if we forget about, and I'm saying that loosely because like obviously you have to make money, obviously we have to do all these things, but how can we help people? What can you provide them? And like really focus on that and continue to focus on that, everything else is going to continue to fall into place. So yes, it feels like okay, at some point I have to make a sale, but kind of like we do these Thursday calls. Yes, we pitch to y'all at some point, and yes, y'all see our posts in the Facebook group and stuff, but we show up here every Thursday just to provide value, just to answer y'all's questions, just to help y'all move forward in your business. Even if you don't ever buy anything from us, we want y'all to reach y'all's goals. We know how life-changing having a bookkeeping business was for us. That's why we continue to do this and show up every day. We set the program up so that you could show up to these Thursday calls and build a successful business and never have to buy anything. So just kind of like use that as an example or think about it from that standpoint, but like continue to show up, continue to serve. It's if you put other people in their helping them and serving them before yourself, God's going to take care of the rest.
Yeah. I agree. I just thought I would get at least, you know, a couple of, you know, you know what I mean? That's the only,
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
it's
Like,
frustrating.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a frustrating. That's really all it is. Like, I mean, I was good, you know, but then, you know, once I got the question, it kind of, the emotions got to me, and that's really all it is. But I'm not, I put out like motivational stuff every day, almost every day. Like don't give up, and you know, just to try to build engagement on Facebook. And you know, I hate to that advice, you know, because like my why is strong enough for me to like keep going, you know. But at the end of the day, I want to quit this job and I'm over this place because I have a full-time job. You know, I'm done with this. Like I just want to do my own thing, and I can't until I can get clients. You know what I mean? And I can't until I get into a groove. And I just haven't found that groove yet. And I thought by 12 months I probably would have had that, and I just, you know, I'm still trying things, you know, and wanting others just Yeah, but again, I can't compare myself. But no, I totally understand, which is why like I try to give out as much free content as I can. Like I'm going to be focusing more on YouTube videos because I know that that's going to be evergreen. And maybe I'll get some people from there, or at least it can just show that I know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So if people like to look around on different things, like if I pitch them to one thing, they're gonna go to my Instagram, my YouTube, or whatever. They want to see that I know what I'm talking about, and then okay, maybe I do need help. Maybe he can help me out. But it's just, yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the gist of what I'm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's totally. Michelle said she agrees dropping the niche is going to get clients to bring some money in for now. She also said my niche is nonprofits and churches. 70% of my clients are in that niche, and they came from 30% of non-niche clients. So I mean, starting somewhere. I'm sure you've heard my story. I niched and do not have a client that has anything to do with that niche whatsoever. And then let's see, Sherry said, is everyone full-time bookkeeping, or do you work full-time job that's outside? I'm going to have to get a job, and I'm concerned on how to market, practice, talk to people, and if you get clients, do you work? So Sherry, I was working full-time when I started my bookkeeping business, full-time single mom. So yeah, I mean, it was lunch breaks, talking to people, or when I got off. A lot of times, business owners are super busy, still working in their business during the day and stuff as well. So they're okay with talking to you after you get off at 9 to 5, and they've all kind of been in your shoes at some point in time. So so don't let that yeah, Cameron said he's got a 9 to 5. And I'm happy to answer any questions about that if as they come up as you're growing, Sherry.
We did a podcast with Juanita. I was just trying to look it up when I saw your post. I don't know which number it was. We did a post or a podcast with Juanita, one of our students. She works full time. She's also a caretaker, and she has a 6-figure bookkeeping business, and she does not have any team members right now. So, or as of when we recorded that podcast.
She's trying
Yes.
to right now hire, but yeah.
So it is possible. It takes a lot of work, and you have to think about all of your responsibilities, right? So there are different, I think, seasons where that would work, and maybe, but as far as like 9 to 5, she's really strategic with her lunch break. Amanda says that she loves that podcast. It was her story is pretty cool. So yeah.
Michelle said she worked until she gained 75% of my working income and client reoccurring revenue and then quit. So yeah, it's definitely very possible to do this and work your 9 to 5.
Bye, Cameron.
Bye, Cameron.
So yeah, lunch breaks, right before and after work. Absolutely. Well, I think that's all the questions.
Let us know if y'all have anything else, and we'll see y'all next week. Thank you, Sherry. Bye.